What's going on, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV. Y'all hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. So, look, y'all, I wanted to talk to y'all about something that I hope is not still a thing within our community. I hope we have evolved past this in a major way. Because I've heard several of my coworkers over the years talk about this happening to them, right? Now, most of the time when I heard this from a coworker, it was older gentlemen, right? Gentlemen in their 40s, late 40s, early 50s, etc. Like the other day, I heard this from a coworker who is like 37 years old, 37, 38 years old, right? He told me that when he turned 17, right, because he graduated high school at 17 and all that, right after he graduated high school, his mother told him, "You got to go. You got to leave this house. You got to go make your own way. You got to spread your own wings and figure out life on your own. Go ahead, get up out of here. You're grown now, right?" And I promise y'all, I'm like, I hope this not still a thing because you are not grown at 17, 18 years old. You are not grown because you graduated from high school at all. You still trying to figure out life. You still trying to figure out your path. You can't even drink legally at 18 years old or 17 years old. When you finish high school, you can't drink at all, right? So it's like you still like you're still not adult. You still are a teenager. Like your mind is not developed enough to really be out here on your own and out here making. So I hope this is not still a thing. Because look at the economy now. We are adults and we barely out here making it as we are now as adults. Adults that have degrees, went to college, all of that. We barely out here making it. We trying to survive. We hanging on by a thread. Can you imagine sending your child off today at 18 years old out of high school and say, "Go ahead and find your way"? I think that's the most horrible thing a parent can do to their child, right? Then your child is out here living with 3 and 4 other people trying to make ends meet. They already going into debt, just trying to figure out life, trying to be able to survive. They out here living with people who are scandalous, who shiesty as hell, all just to be able to pay bills. Or they're in a dead end relationship, or sometimes they might be in an abusive situation just because the person that they're with can help them pay bills, right? See, I think about stuff like that, right? I remember talking to my homie, you feel me, my homie Blake from Mississippi Valley State University. This is my dog, right? Blake went to grad school at Columbia in New York. And he told me, "Malcolm, you don't have no idea how many people are staying together, are staying in terrible relationships, staying in relationships with people that they hate in order to pay bills. They stand with people who are verbally abusive, people who are, just horrible people, just to be able to pay rent." And that shouldn't be a thing in our society. That shouldn't be how the economy shouldn't be inflated like that, where it's just you got to live with somebody else to survive. But that's the situation. That's the reality for a lot of people. Can you imagine sending your child off into the world, into the world when the world is like this? Like this? You know what I'm saying? And we as black folks, because this is a thing that I've seen within the black community, this gotta stop. Truthfully, and I really hope it's not a thing because growing up, I didn't know anybody that this happened to. Growing up, like my friends, they didn't get put out as after we graduated high school or whatever, right? But I know people who I work with who told me this has happened to them, right? They mama, they father. Man, I remember my homie. He was an older guy in his 40s, and he told me when he graduated high school, his father told him, "You got to go. You got to get up out my house. Get up out of here. You grown now." He said he didn't know what to do, so he enlisted in the military. Not because he wanted to go, not because it was an aspiration for him to just go into and serve the country. It was because he had no other option. He didn't know where to turn to. And at that point, like, it was a lot, like, he might have been in his early 50s, right? And I don't know if, like, going to college, I mean, people in their 50s went to college, but, like, I don't know if he really knew because nobody in his family had went to college. So I don't know if he really knew the route to take to do that, but he knew military was an option. He heard it from a friend of his. So he went into the military, right? Because he just didn't know what else to do. And he said, man, for years, he hated his father for that. He despised his father for kicking him out on the street and telling him, "You got to just make your own way." He was like, because I was still young, I didn't know how to really maneuver through life. I didn't want to go to the military. But it was like I knew my father didn't welcome me back into his home, not because I was a bad child, not because I was a menace, not because I was a headache or causing problems in the neighborhood, all because it happened to him. And he wanted to pass that down to me, pass that hurt down to me like it was a tradition. And shit like that should never be a tradition. And I'm sure my coworker at work who told me his mother told him to leave the house as soon as he graduated high school, it probably happened to his mother. And so pain and trauma gets passed down throughout our communities. And at some point, that generational curse has got to be broken. I look at other communities. I remember my homie, right? My homie was, at school at Mississippi Valley State with me. This is my dog, right? While we in school, he falls in love with a Hawaiian girl, right? They get together, get into a relationship for years while we in school. And then he decides to move to Hawaii with her, right? He from Chicago like me. He decides to move to Hawaii with her, right? And they plan, they both get jobs and they plan, hey, because she's from Hawaii. They say, we're going to go and move on our own and get our own place and all of that. Her parents say, oh, no, y'all ain't got to do that. No, y'all come in here with us. We got a big enough house that's spacious. Y'all can have your own space in the house because they lived in a really big house. Y'all can come and live in here and save money and stack your money up. So if y'all want to buy a house, so something like that, y'all can have the chance to do that. Y'all can get you can get a chance to have some type of financial freedom, or you can get a chance to stack up so you can have some type of financial prosperity before leaving this house. It's okay, y'all come in here. And then he told me when they got in there, they told him and his girl, hey man, listen, honestly, when y'all get married, we probably move up out of here and y'all can have this house. We will find somewhere else to go because we got our money stacked up. We got it saved. We got a savings. We can find us somewhere else. Y'all can stay here. Right. And I said, damn, that's beautiful. Right. Now I know some people would say, I don't want to live with my significant other's family and all of that, but the house is big enough to where they had their own space and it was all good. Right. But it was just like the thought of them to say, I don't want y'all out here. Y'all just getting into y'all career field. Y'all could be out here trying to just make, and it's two of y'all, so it's better than one. But it's like I want y'all to be able to stack up so y'all can save y'all money and y'all can be well off. Y'all can be good by the time y'all get up out of here. Right? Y'all come in here with us. It was the fact that was offered, that alley-oop was thrown to them. Versus a y'all better get out here and get it on your own and figure it out, right? And some people would do that, saying, hey, look, you and your boyfriend ain't finna be up in here and all of that or whatever. Even if y'all engaged, you and your fiance ain't finna be up in here. Yeah, and living like y'all grown, y'all, which they were grown at that point, you know what I mean? We were 22 years old. But, some people would say, oh, no, y'all ain't coming up in here at my house and with me and my wife or, but her family say, y'all, no, y'all come in here. Y'all stay here. And we will help y'all. And let give y'all, we're gonna give y'all the chance to figure y'all stuff out, stack y'all money. Don't rush to go move somewhere on your own first. Come in here and stack y'all money up and save. And community, and my boy told me communities in Hawaii, they do that. The parents will leave the kids the house and go move somewhere else. They rather have their kids come in the house with them and save versus get up out my house. You 18 now, get up out my house. You just graduated college. Because their parents understand that life is hard. And in Hawaii, it's super expensive. The cost of living is extremely high in Hawaii. And they understood that. And they understood sending their kid off into the world like that is just, it could be a bad thing. We're all out here still trying to figure stuff out. I'm 32 years old, right? I got a master's degree in everything. I'm still out here trying to piece everything together to make ends meet and all of that. This is me with a master's degree and all of that. Everything, right? I didn't work as a government contractor, all of that. Got laid off and trying to figure stuff out. It's like, yo, it really can happen. And so I don't think it's cool for Black parents to do that. In other communities, and I know my parents did this for me. You come up in here with us. I graduated grad school. Come in here with us. My mama come up in here with us. My dad, they was in two separate households. He would have said the same thing. Let's give you time to save your money, stack your money, so you could be prepared before you leave. And I was prepared when I left my mom's house. I was. Right now, unfortunately, after I worked at that job for 7 years, they laid us off without no severance package or nothing, abruptly, and that turned my world upside down. But you know what I mean? But at that time, when I moved out of my mom's house, I had started my job as a government contractor. I had been there for about a year stacking up my money as a government contractor. Then I left because I was good enough to leave. I was set enough so I could be able to leave and be all good. But that needs to be a thing within our community. Trying to get your kids out the house so you can, I don't know, you want to live your life or relive your youth, or you thought that's some trauma that was passed down to you, so you want to pass the trauma off to your kids. That shit ain't cool, man. It's hard out here in this world. So many bills. Again, you got a window shop in a grocery store. Groceries so high. All these different services are high. I mean, gas is high. Everything is high out here. I mean, what else? Utilities get high and expensive. Everything is super expensive in this world. And it's like, you're going to send your child off into that. The landlords pushing up rent higher and higher and higher. I'm on the south side of Chicago. These landlords be pushing up the rent every 2 years, pushing it up significantly. Not $50, not $100. I'm talking about $300. They push up the rent. In certain areas. In certain areas, unless you in the hood. If you in the hood, they keep it cool for you. But then it's like you got to worry about other things. So yeah, man, it's just like I hope that is not a thing within the black community overall. Because again, none of my friends had that experience. But when I got to being in the workforce, when I got to working in corporate America, you know what I mean, and started working alongside other black folks, I heard this was their story a lot of times. A lot of them got done like this, and it was the result of hurt parents hurting their children. And I would never do that to my kids. They can always come home and regroup and stack up and build. I ain't gonna have my kid figure it out. Just because, and I hate people that feel like just because they figure something out, that everybody else should do that. Just because you struggled and you overcame it, you don't want to push struggle on everybody else, because your struggle is different than back then than it is today. Back then, you could find a job and work in a factory job and sometimes be okay. Right now, what? You can't get certain jobs without certain degrees. And then even when you got degrees, you need certain experience to even get considered for the job, right? And then if you get the job, they're not paying you what your degree says you should be paid. They paying you, lowballing you. Is not enough for you to survive. It's not enough for you to even pay rent and other utilities. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what? People got to have 2 jobs just to be able to be okay, to be able to sustain. That's horrible. Nobody should be living like that out here, but that's a reality for a lot of different people. And so when this is what's going on out here, people having jobs and they still can barely make ends meet. They still can barely pay certain things. That's frustrating, man. So why would you send your kid out into a world like that, where they got to deal with all these different things? And this is a reality for them. Why would you do that? Why that's not okay, man. I would never do that to my children at all. I love them too much to have them out here struggling just to say, I figured it out. If I figured it out, they can too. No, that's like people that, you know, when we talk about student loans, and you see people to be like, I had to pay my student loans back. Well, ma'am, when you paid your student loans back, your student loans, ma'am or sir, your student loans were nowhere near as expensive as it is now. Can you imagine paying back student loans in this economy that we are in now? It's crazy. It's ridiculous. When you got to pay again, you trying to pay, the cost of living is increasing, and the wages aren't increasing to match that. But it's people that be like, I had to pay mine back. Y'all little ass should pay y'all's back too. I had to do it, so you should have to do it. I'm not a person that feels like because I endured pain, that somebody else should have to endure the same thing as me. I don't believe in that. So let's just say I was a person who my parents kicked me out at 18. I wouldn't do that to my child just because I went through it. I would want to change things up and love on my child better and love on them closely and have them. I would want to protect them. I'm sorry. I would want to protect them and say, look, yes, I'm going to make you a responsible adult. I'm going to make you be able to understand, to be able to. I'm not going to have you in my house just not doing nothing. Let me just say that. I'm going to have you in here. You're going to be working. You're going to be pushing towards a goal, saving up and all of that. Make sure you're working and being a diligent, responsible young man or woman, right? But I'm not going to be out here like, oh, you figure it out on your own. You figure it out and throw you out here to the wolves and to the sharks. No. I'm going to say, yo, you come up in here. Come in here. Come in here, baby. Son or daughter, y'all come up in here. Come in here with your father. It's going to be all right. You're going to be okay. Go ahead and work your job. Go ahead and work. Get your money stack and all of that. So you can be able to fend for yourself at some point, out here in the world. But I'm not going to be pushing my kid out at 18, 22 years old, telling them, hey, you better figure this shit out. Like, no. There's so many people that haven't figured life out yet at all, and they in their mid-30s or early 40s. So you're expecting an 18-year-old kid to figure that out or a 22-year-old to figure that out? Why? Because you got a degree now? Again, I just told y'all, people are not even paying young people for the degrees that they have. And again, the cost of living is increasing while the wages are not matching. So that's a tradition. If that is still a tradition in our community, it got to end today. Keep putting your kid out at 18 that is heinous to me. That's horrible parenting. Unless your kid is a menace, unless they in your house smoking and drinking and acting a fool, all right, that's different. I get that, right? If your kid a menace, they're smoking and drinking and all up in your house, disrespecting your house, they doing illegal stuff. You know what I mean? They bring in police activity around your house. And they live in a wild, crazy, crash out lifestyle. All right, I get putting them out. But if your kid is a productive young man or woman, just trying to make it in society, they working, trying to be upstanding young man or woman, trying to get their life in order, why wouldn't you want your child in the nest with you? Why you want to kick them out just to say I'm an empty nester? Just so you can go ahead and have fun and live life? And it's like, no, man. You don't care about your kids' well-being? Because not being able to pay bills and being behind on bills and rent, it gets stressful. It gets overwhelming. It gets mentally exhausting and draining. And just can you imagine the mental state of your child when they're out here trying to survive and they know I cannot go to my parents. My parents will not be a security blanket for me. They will not help me. They will not see me drowning and come and give me a life jacket or a raft. They're going to say, hey, swing your arms and figure it out. Like, come on, man. I could never do that. They're going to say, flail your arms and figure it out. I'm not going to be one of them. I can't be one of them parents. I have a 14-year-old daughter and a 5-year-old son. I refuse to do that to them at all. And I think every parent, especially in the Black community, should think like that. If your kid is, as long as they're not a criminal and out here acting wild and being unruly in your house and disrespecting your house, I think every Black parent should think like me. Why would you send your child off into a world when you know people are struggling every day to try to survive in this economy? But hell, what do I know? I'm just a 32-year-old parent of 2 children. That's a YouTuber out here. Machiavelli Mills TV. I'm out, y'all.